So, Mike, I'm super psyched you're back on. Obviously, I didn't say the episode number when I said you've been on a bunch, but for the Wicked Smile listeners, go to episode 302. I think it was the last one. You don't have to go searching. Just go to 302, get a little bit more of Mike's background and bio. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Good, good, good. Let's talk about a few things, Mike, because let's say they haven't heard you. They haven't gone to episode 302 yet. Let's talk about sort of your highest point from a deal standpoint. Highest point meaning, hey, this is a really cool deal. Worked the way it's supposed to. My 3 paydays were X. Let's talk about that first, just so they get their whistle wet with you and kind of how you do deals. Anything you want to share with that?
Yeah, I think the highest point would be just like a textbook deal, right? Where we got in 0 down. The seller was your typical seller who just couldn't sell their house for the price they wanted. Didn't want to pay commissions or fees. It was a vacant property, so they were just they had an additional cost per month and needed a different creative way to sell it, right? And we came in, swooped up the house, put it on the market, and a buyer, right away came in, a very qualified buyer with a decent down payment and, great income monthly to support it. And it just was a textbook deal where it cashed out on time. The 3 paydays were great. And it allowed you to write.
Remember on that one, Mike, let me back up. Is that a lease purchase that you did on that one?
That was a lease purchase. I was making somewhere around, maybe $300 or $400 on the monthly spread. Had a good principal pay down, somewhere around $500. Total deals in the 75,000 range.
Nice.
No late payments, no headaches with the buyer. It was just very if you wanted every deal to be like that one, that was the one that you wanted to be like.
All right, so let's let's back up. Obviously, disclosure, they're not like that, guys, right?
No, of course not.
Headaches happen. That's life. That's why we're here to help. Mike, for those again they're not going to go back to the episode maybe till later. Real briefly, the market you operate in, because I love having the coaches and the Wicked Smart community members on to say that. And also, I already said you've been with me hanging out since 17, but the market you're in, average price range, and why you made the decision to join, but then a second decision to go full time.
Yeah. So I'm in California, Central California, in the Fresno area. So I operate, up to 2 hours north, 2 hours south if I need to. Of course, I try to get close to my immediate area as possible. I was in sales for 10 plus years in a job that was very demanding, and I had a baby on the way at the time, and just wanted to break free and gain more control of my time. More importantly, right? Control my time and how I spent it with the baby on the way, and just wanted to be present with my family instead of always being on the go with the job, right? And I was looking for an alternative, and that's how I found you guys, right, Chris, back in 2017, and hit the ground running. Started with the high 6 group right away, and after a little over 2 years, it jumped full time.
So as I said just a couple of seconds ago in the intro, you asked me why the program was so cheap, but I didn't tell them, or we didn't share with them what got your attention. Like, if I recall, you were looking for, I'm trying to think of all the different stories in our community, you were looking for a business in general.
Yeah. I was open to all kinds of different ideas. Multifamily was another one that I was looking into, like some type of syndication deals, and even franchises, right? Which oddly that wouldn't give me more time and freedom, right? But I was just looking for anything. I just wanted to change, right, and just control. Even though maybe I would have been working more, I just wanted control. So, yeah, so that's what I was looking at. And then all those took a lot more than what the program did at the time, and I felt like, okay, our average deals are, what was it back then? Our average was probably a little bit lower than it is now, but what was it? 65 to
Yeah.
Yeah, 75, somewhere around there. So, um, I mean, for me, I was like, it was a no-brainer because I wasn't going to stop at one deal. I was going to keep pushing, and I knew I was going to get the return on my investment. More importantly, the education, right? That's something that nobody could take away from you. Once you hone in on the skills and master that, I mean, it's something that stays with you forever. And I was willing to invest in that.
Yeah, it's funny. We had the chairman's meeting last week, Mike. You talk about franchises. And I said to them, look, some of you guys beat yourself up. You don't have a deal in 2 months, 6 months, a year. But a franchise, a lot of times, you tell me if you saw us looking at them, we'll give you a pro forma that sometimes shows a loss for forget not making any money, a loss out of your pocket for a year or two, sometimes 3. And yet we beat ourselves up if we don't have all these, $100,000 deals popping in our pocket in 3 months. I don't know if you have any comments on that.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, a lot of the associates, including myself, are coming in pretty green with all this, right? No experience at all. So you're learning really from stage one, and you got to give yourself a little bit of a learning curve and a cushion, be realistic with that. But once you get to a level where you're comfortable and you're just talking like a normal conversation with people, things start to click, and the sky's the limit.
So, Mike, I'm thinking now, because you've been on the show talking about what you do now. You certified coach. That's further along the path. But can you think back? This will pick your brain a little bit. Can you think back to when you first started? What was most necessary? We didn't have Slack and Zoom and all these cool things we have now. So was it just the lifeline to call? When you think back, what was the lifeline you needed, and how important was that? And I don't remember what the most important thing for you was.
Yeah. I think, having the coaches, which at the time was you, right? Having you there as a lifeline every step of the way to guide me where I didn't feel comfortable, right? Yeah, we didn't have QLS and Slack. That all that stuff is just light years ahead of what we had back then, and definitely going to help everyone accelerate at a lot faster pace. But just the coaching aspect of it and being there when you have a question on anything, whether it's contract related, whether it's what to say just on a script when you go on an appointment, right? Just the simplest things when you're new and haven't been through it before, that gives you that comfort level. And Chris, you're across the country from me, right? So I had to trust in that, and I did, and you guys lived up to the hype, right? You guys lived up to everything that you said you would, and here we are today.
Actually, you made me think of something. So when you came in, you said your produce business was about to get super busy, and you said, I'm either going to wait or something along these lines, or if you can get out here, if I can fly out there, we can get going right away. So I jumped on a plane and we did a couple of appointments together.
Yeah, I remember. I think it joined it in April, right? Somewhere around it was April,
yeah,
or maybe a little bit before that. But busy season started in June. I literally had a month and a half or so to start cranking, right? And I think even when you come out here that short period of time, I had some appointments going, and I definitely made every minute count of my period during that time.
Yeah, disclosure for the Wicked Spot listener, I'm not getting on a plane every single one of you that emails me and says, okay, I'll join too, but I'll consider it, depending on how Mike was serious and came in right in the high six. That's a commitment. We match effort for effort. It's one of our values. Speaking of email,
and I came out there too, Chris, right? I came out to Newport and visited you guys at the office there for a few days as well. Right after that, I joined, a month and a half after. So
again, commitment. We both jumped across country to do this. And guys, if you listen to this as a Wicked Spot listener, you're going, yeah, I really want that end result. I really want. Okay, it's going to take some commitment. It's going to take some sacrifice. Mike's entrepreneurial. Mike, you got other ventures going on, right? It's we're not the only team. But to know that you're going to have your plans in order and you can be profitable in all those is super important, and that's good for those guys to hear. Okay, so let's talk about. You said you came out to here. You did an office visit, but let's talk about the events we do. You've been at a ton of them. You've been on stage. You've been a newbie there. You've seen it all. So how important is the event? So pretend you're in the event and you're talking to, or you're not in an event. You're in California. You're in a room of 100 entrepreneurs, and you're telling them why they should go to the QS Live event. So just Give them some thoughts on that. And then for context, this event is September 23rd and 24th. It's in Boston, Mass. First time. Mike, I haven't talked to you about that decision, but the kids, I call them kids, they're in their 30s now. My adult kids won on this one because they've been saying for years, you got to be in Boston, you got to be in a city where people can get to. And I'm like, no, they can come to me. Well, so I finally gave in. So it's in Boston. It's easy to get to. Why should they be there?
Well, I mean, the event it's incredible, right? I mean, you're going to a place where everyone that's in the room there are like-minded people, right? Everyone has the same end goal. Everybody is looking to accomplish the same thing. So the energy that builds throughout the event, and the information that you get, not only from whoever's speaking, but just rubbing shoulders from other associates who've been in the community for quite some time. Gathering nuggets from them. It's just priceless. The amount that you're going to spend to get out there, I mean, you'll get it back tenfold, and I can guarantee that, because every time I've been out there, even though I am where I'm at now, I still pick up things, right? And you leave and you come back home energized, and you hit the ground running, and I can guarantee you're going to, hit some goals when you get home, because, you're going to have the energy, you're going to have the focus from the event, and I mean, it's you can't not go, right? It's a great event, tons of information. Bring your questions, come prepared, and be ready to take it all in.
Mike, it's interesting you said you'll pick up things still. I just before you had a conversation with a gentleman. I've been on his show. He's been on my show. We were just talking, and he said, "Hey, Chris, I don't know if you do this," and he gave me a strategy, and maybe I'll talk about the coaches call this afternoon. But either way, we're gonna talk about the event. And I've never heard of it or done it in 33 years. This guy does creative like us. He's actually younger than I am. And he gave me the scenario. I went, man, oh man, that was my aha. We had a long chat, but it was a really cool aha. I'm going to leave that as a cliffhanger for the Wicked Smart listener, because you need to be at the event. The one thing he told me that we'll share at the event, it could cost you or make you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. So for sure, you want to be there. At the end of the show here, guys, in a couple seconds, I'll give you the link for a 50% off ticket. But Mike said he guarantees it, and I'll say this. I guarantee it too, and I'll put my money where my mouth is. I always say this. Every year since 16, we've been doing this with 14 people in the room, and now, 100-something. I will tell you, if you can come up to us and say, hey, you know what, guys, I heard you and Mike or heard whoever, and I came, and I don't think it was the best use of my time, then we'll refund you any cost to get there. The ticket's minimal, but we'll refund you your travel to get there. Because I don't want you to be there and not say this was the best thing in my life. I don't want you not to be able to say that. Okay, I want you to be able to say the opposite. And then I'd ask you to ask yourself, as a Wicked Smart listener, then Mike, I'll ask you to share any last-minute nuggets. But I'd ask you guys to ask yourself, what if you get the same result Mike did and some of the other students you've heard on the show? What if it all worked out for you? What if you could start in September and get yourself all set up? You're not going to make $1 million before the end of the year. But what if you get yourself all set up for 25 to have the best year ever? And you might be thinking, I'm nuts. It's only July when me and Mike are recording this. But 25 is going to come fast, guys. And will you be positioned in the right spot? Just a thought, okay? And what if that all worked for you? Well, it can. It can and will if you come to the event. Mike, any last-minute nuggets before we jump, and then I'll give them a link?
Yeah, I mean, being there in person is another thing, right? I mean, getting the course online, all that is excellent. But putting it all together, being there in person, and, you're building the relationships too. You're going to be meeting people and then going back and then having those people to talk to as well to grow together. I mean, take advantage of all this, guys. I mean, this is huge. Definitely going to accelerate your learning curve and get some cash in your pocket, right? That's the ultimate goal, is to do deals, make money, and build your business, right? And this is definitely a big stepping stone to get there, and you're not going to want to miss it.
Actually, I just caught myself. So I will give the link for the 50% off, but you can get a free ticket if you decide to be what we call apprentice, and that's brand new for us. For more information, go to 3paydaysapprentice.com. So it's the number 3paydaysapprentice.com. That is going to be a better route, guys. You can come to the event. I want you to be there. If you want to buy a 50% off ticket, I'll give you that link in 2 seconds. But better yet, Mike mentioned the word course when he was talking, and this is what made me think of it, Mike. Because if you go through the course and you have some of the other training, and that link will give you some more info, you will not just attend and go, oh, I'm excited, I'm going to roll this out. You'll have a foundation built. Mike, you might remember the days you've been here long enough where you couldn't come to the event unless you went through the course.
Yeah.
If you weren't speaking the vernacular, you'd be lost. And so 3paydaysapprentice.com will get you in better position. Not required at all. Johnny gets you set up to be the best you can. Mike, I appreciate you being on as usual. You've been hanging on a lot of these. I think we're almost at episode 500. So hopefully around episode 1,000.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone.
All right, guys, that wraps up another episode with my all-time favorite thing to do, which is talk to students. I want to, before I go, just remind you once more about the QLS live event this September in Boston, 23rd and 24th. It's literally a must-attend, guys. If you're serious about doing something in this market, a market that in my 33 years has never been this conducive, this friendly, let's say, to creative real estate. If you want that, you want to meet with sort of not just like-minded professionals, but professionals who will challenge you, prod you, help you get to your goals. That's the people we hang out with. And proximity really does matter, right? So that's what kind of event it's going to be. I invite you to go to, I just want to make sure I give you the right link here. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS live, but use the coupon code podcast50. That's 50, not spelled out. So smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS live and coupon code podcast50. Until we see you in September, keep learning, keep growing, and stay wicked smart. See you then.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast. If you're ready to invest in yourself and take your investing to the next level, check out our 90-day Jumpstart program by going to smartrealestatecoach.com/jump. That's smartrealestatecoach.com/jump, because now is the time to act boldly in this unprecedented market shift.